Greetings, friends and family. Welcome back to our home. I'm in our front entrance. That's where Norm had showed you all of his Easter toys in our last video, or second to last video. I am showing you up close what I thrifted at the Goodwill for $3.99. I was thrilled. I have mentioned that I do plastic canvas. That's what this is. I did it. I am not currently working on any. I'm too busy with the videos and other things. But I really admire it. I know a lot of work goes into it, and it's just that any stitched item, like stitchery pictures, Afghans, you name it, I just really admire them, and I think it's so warm and just so much detail, all those little stitches. And this was really beautiful. It even is a combination of, looks like gold metallic thread one row, and then a more red and green and gold on the outer edge. But I thought this was fabulous. It's very big, so $3.99 was nothing. I just couldn't believe it. And at Goodwill, I couldn't believe that no one had picked that up either before I had gotten there. I should explain that little white thing on our door. We have one on all of our doors because it's a very loud alarm. I think there's two different settings on it, two different noises, but boy, does it hurt my ears. Oh, I can't stand it. So you got to make sure you flip the little switch on it before you go to open the door. You'll end up with that noise going off in your ear. So Norm figured that was very inexpensive, deterrent for burglars. But I just kept forgetting to tell you about that. So welcome, and let's go look at a few more things on the buffet here. I did put away Norm's toys, so I could just show you some things over here. I thrifted this large rabbit last year for $5 at Bibles for Missions. I was thrilled. Really, really big guy. So cute. I mean girl. Obviously with the pink ribbon. I want to share with you this incredibly pretty chocolate Easter egg. Was a gift from a YouTube friend. She's on Instagram too, and she sells on eBay. Her name is Linda. Her and her husband were so kind last year to send this gorgeous egg to us. It was so sweet of them to do that. I've kept it all this time until Easter to be able to share it with you. I will put a link to her eBay store, and I hear from her every now and then with very sweet messages. I appreciate that very much, Linda. And I and Norm too are enjoying this beautiful gift. I found when Hobby Lobby was having their spring sale, their greenery and that was all marked way down. I don't know if it's like 40% off, but these were very inexpensive to begin with. It's in a little clay pot, but it slipped right down into my two little hobnail milk glass pots. And I picked those colors, these two little African violets, because this is something very special that I've been wanting to share with you for a year. It looks at first glance, and Norm and I couldn't believe that we didn't notice when we were buying vintage candy heart boxes. We bought this at the same time. It never dawned on us until we got it home much later that it's an Easter egg. It's not a heart box. Have you ever seen one of those? Boy, we haven't. This is the only one we've ever run across. I have no idea what we paid for it. It was probably more than a year ago, but it's been in the drawer waiting for this Easter so I could share it. I've shown these 3 crosses before. They're very, very nice. Found them over a many long year period. And I think this was the last one that I had found. Much different than the other 2. This has little palm-like fronds, is that the word you use, in it, and glitter, and a metallic cross there in the middle, an abalone shell. And this one is also abalone shell, quite green. And this one is your agate pieces. This is probably my least favorite one, but it is unique. So I always like to share those with you at Easter time. As I've said before, there were 3 crosses on Calvary. So that's all I came up with. For the buffet, I really didn't even finish. I just ran out of time, but I really did want to show you this and the beautiful Easter egg. I had found the little one many years ago, so I was pretty tickled that I ended up with another one to go with it that's even more spectacular. So thanks again, Linda. That was so sweet. We hope your Easter is blessed too. I stole these 2 shelves from my bedroom, the turquoise bedroom upstairs, and I put 2 things up there that were very similar. They're diamond shaped and metal, but they have Royal Copley budgies on them, a pair on each one. So I put those on each side of the shadow box that's upstairs there in the turquoise bedroom, so I'll show those to you sometime. But they've been in a drawer too, so I finally found somewhere where I could show them, and then I took the 2 shelves that were there away and decided I want them down here. I want to use them. I want to be able to put different things on them. This is what I was talking about. The budgie plaques I've had for a really, really long time. They show up once in a while in our decor, but I've always wanted them out permanently and never really thought about trying them in here. So I took the diamond plaques that were right there, and these fit in very well. And like I said, I think they may be Royal Copley. I'm not positive, but so I'm very happy with this. And I put birds on here instead of the lady head vases. I like it a lot better. So that's what I came up with just to show you for an Easter video here. These were my brothers, and they also look like Royal Copley. My brother gave me these, probably 10 years ago. The male and the female. There's a lot of pink on them, so I just thought that it would be very fun to show them, and I had thrifted this pretty beaded cross at Bibles for Missions, so I just decided I wanted to hang that there to remind us of what Easter is all about. the resurrection of Christ Jesus. He conquered death. I decided to add a mirror because I love these starburst mirrors. No, they are not vintage, but I really like them. And this, I can't remember if that was something my brother gave me too. It's very possible that I don't remember buying it. So I had a white goose up there. Do you remember that? For many years, ever since I've been doing videos. But let me show you where I put that. I put my pretty goose up here so I could see it all the time. I wanted something up there. That is really a high peak there. And I just thought it would be very nice with the shadow box. So I hope you think that's fine up there. So let's go to the kitchen. We'll start at the kitchen table. This is Palm Sunday by Janis, a very lovely Easter video. I will put a link to it in the description below. I wanted to share with you the cutest, very heavy linen weave. Adorable runner. It's quite wide for a runner, but that's what I'm going to call it. We found it last year in a small antique shop not very far from us, and I believe it was like $24, and I thought that was a really good deal because it looked real quality to me. Look at the darling Easter eggs. And it seemed like it was quite vintage. I really couldn't tell, but maybe you can give me your opinion. I did not take the label out of wherever I hid it, somewhere probably up where the linens are that I keep in a large bin in my closet. I almost forgot about this to show you. I think I'm going to put our dining room light on and see if maybe that would light things up a little better. I think so. The rabbits are probably going to be a little dark unless I get really close to them. But the label for this was very thin paper. It was large. There was no such thing as a barcode on it. And it was kind of blue ink. If I dig it out before I actually post this video, I will show you a picture of it. But what you're going to be very surprised about, last year when I found this, I thought it was pretty cool that I couldn't read the text on that label. Absolutely could not read it, but it looked very Russian to me. I know that that is a very touchy subject right now. I don't want to get into anything political, obviously, but personally, I feel sorry for the Russian people. I really believe that they're brainwashed as to what's going on and what their president is doing. So that is all very, very sad, and we pray for Ukraine and the Russians also, the innocent people in Russia that really don't want any part of what's going on. But I thought this was just super cool, and I tried typing in all those letters. Obviously, I couldn't say it. And I really did not know about this Google Lens. I just discovered Google Lens a month ago. So I guess I'm pretty green when it comes to all the wonderful features there are on your phone. So when I looked it up by trying to type in all these long, strange letters, words, the only thing I could figure out was that it definitely was in Russia, but it seemed more like it could be a gift shop that is in an old textile building, if I'm remembering correctly. And that makes sense. If this is vintage, that textile company could be long gone. They just move to other countries if they can't afford the labor. There's lots of things that I was reading about it, but it was a year ago, so I apologize for not being able to tell you more, but I really like it. And like I said, I must have spent a half an hour just a little bit ago trying to iron it, and I still couldn't do a very good job with the highest setting and as many spritzes as I could do. My thumb is actually hurting for all the spritzing I had to do. So let's look at the Easter eggs. This was some dish that I found ridiculously inexpensive. Maybe it was $7 or something like that at the treasure shed last year. So this is the first time I've used it, and I thought it would be very fun. Instead of using several vintage egg plates that I have, I thought it would be fun to put some more of these eggs in this dish here. So these are ones I have not shown you yet this year. Yes, you did get a glimpse of them last year. They're very, very fun, of course, and I'm blessed to have found them. So I was just trying to cover up some of the staining over there with the basket and the bunny. This side's pretty good. But that was something I'm glad I happened to think of, and Norm will be glad that I remembered it. You know, when you pack away things in a bin full of stuff and you just don't get to it for a whole year, you can easily forget about it, right? Over here, I put some of my miniature milk glass little baskets. I really think they're fun to use. So I have almost the repeat over here. It's the center basket that is different on each side. And just a little sprig of grass, if that's what you'd call it, clump of grass. And these I did show last year. They were new for me a couple years ago. They came in the box. I'm sorry to have my light on there. The box was so bad, though, I didn't want to save it. I just don't care for grungy things. I'm sorry, but it just isn't worth it to me. I'm sure I'm going to have these glasses for a very long time. I'll take the light off. But then it looks like you see my reflection more when I take the light off. But you get the idea. So I'm happy to have those and love taking them out in the spring. Up here, I've been for, 3-4 years at least, I've been finding adorable planters, vintage planters at the thrift stores and of course antique shops, and they're pretty reasonable, the ones that I've decided to take. I do not want to spend $20 on one, but if I can find one for $5 or a little bit more, I will get it if it fits in with what I think is fun. This one I just found yesterday. The planter is actually in back, so I didn't put any flowers in him. There's enough up here. I love all these little old plastic flowers. I've had them for a very, very long time. I've had her for several years. She ended up going pretty well with this guy. They're both dressed up. So that worked out all right. I didn't even think about that when I found him. He was pretty cheap, so I picked him up. And this I did show you in an earlier Easter video, but I decided to bring the bunny back out here to join the crowd. And this was also new yesterday. We were in Stillwater, Minnesota, so we had some fun taking a day off. It's funny, this is so old-fashioned because it has such a lot of fuzzy fur around its chin on both sides that looks more like Thumper. Speaking of Thumper, I did just purchase this a week ago. It is actually Bambi, so that I assume would be Thumper. It is marked on the bottom, Walt Disney. It says Bambi, Walt Disney. It's imprinted right in the mold. I've always wanted Bambi, and I've just never wanted to pay what they were asking for him, but this was a very, very good price. So I finally got her and Thumper. So it's fun sitting at our dining room table where we eat to look up at all the pastels and the cute animals. This winter, when we were out antiquing, I'm already forgetting. I keep trying to get a vision of where Norm took down this vase from, but it escapes me again. I'm sorry. You get too many trips mixed up in your head, and I'm not real great at taking a lot of notes, but I know that's not overly important to you. But this is a beautiful piece by, is it by Hull? Norm really, really liked it. And he thought the handle on it, of course, is very cool. The lines are just beautiful modern lines. So we've been enjoying looking at that for at least a month now. I swapped out a couple of my milk glass plates that were just plain for these flowered ones. I'm sorry that I'm a little hoarse today. I don't really know why. Sometimes I get that way. So I have another red flowered one to my right that's a little different shaped plate. I've had that up for a while, quite a while, but I kept these two out of, I think I had a couple more at one point, but I decided I wasn't all that crazy about the colors. You just can't keep everything, and I found them at Bibles for Missions for probably 49 cents each, so I could afford to just donate them back again. So I did post this area over here on Instagram, so some of you have probably already seen it. There's some more beautifully done eggs. I think they're just swell. I never did any that I recall when I was young in a ceramics class. I think I would remember if I did, but for some reason I may have gone to a ceramics class. I just don't even recall that. But I am very grateful to find these. And I did start so many years ago. That's why I have such a big collection. And it must be like 5 years ago that I saw that the little, isn't that crazy? I can't think of what you call these glasses either. Oh no. I know there's a name for them. But I just would find one here and there. I just found the two little Lily of the Valley, I believe is what that would be, even though I thought Lily of the Valley was white. But they're adorable, and I did find the two of them, and I knew that I would just love putting them out here with the spring flowers that I do have. I might think of the word. And Norm loved the pastels because they were geometric. So this is probably one of my favorite glassware collections. Very fun. I'm happy to have them. And they were probably average $3 a piece. That's not bad at all. Here's some pretty flower buds coming out on a tree, I assume. Probably either a cherry or I don't know what kind of tree that is, but very pretty. So I also posted this on Instagram, where some of you may have caught that. I've had that little chicken egg on the left for many, many years, a little hobbyist piece. The one in the middle, that duck could be Royal Copley, do you think? A lot of you probably aren't concerned to know exactly who made all of these. This is a hobbyist piece, I would imagine. I believe there's a name on the bottom. I did look at that, and you can see she's got a chip on her foot, but I will fix that. I just haven't had time, but I was so surprised to find her at least a month ago in Family Pathways up north of us. I think it was Forest Lake. That's the first one we stop at. And once in a while I'll find a little chalkware egg, really cheap. So that's what I got over there. And I still have my rooster up from my friend Kim. And there's the red flower one, much different shaped milk glass plate. And I've had this up year-round because I think it's just adorable. It's a very tiny plate, as you can see. Very tiny. So let's go back to the kitchen. I apologize for being so late with my kitchen and dining room video this year. I really struggled. I don't know why. I've had an easy time all the other times I've done arrangements out here. But for some reason this year it was much more of a struggle. I didn't know how many of the islip pictures I wanted to put out last year. If you look back, I can put a link upper right for last year's Easter video if you want to compare them. I definitely had all pastels, but up above there where all those green planters are, I had milk glass planters. So it was very easy to do all pastels, but I kind of threw a monkey wrench in things here by saying that I want to look at these green, beautiful planters, most of them probably McCoy. I just loved finding them. I was so thrilled when I'd find one. So I want to look at that for the summer, and it did cause me to have to try to keep some green in here, which is something I tried to leave out last year. But we'll go look at that closer in a bit here. That's what I'll talk about here on the countertop. But first I want to show you the corner. I found this for $5 at the Goodwill several years ago. Think it's kind of fun being a pitcher, and wanted to put a few more odd eggs over here. I've shown that cute little planter before. So I do love these Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks. I gave a bunch to my sister because I was just kind of tapering back on my cookbooks, and she was sweet enough, Melissa is her name, she was sweet enough to give them back to me just recently. And I thought, oh, thanks, because they happen to be ones that I didn't have. I actually started thrifting them again. Isn't that crazy? Have you ever donated things and then a year or so later you start thrifting them again? Yeah, you just can't keep everything around, and you think your tastes have changed, and then you just get it back again, right? So we'll look at what's above here. I need to take something away just above here that I didn't mean to have there, so hold on. That would be Norm's keys to the shed. He wants them right here by the back door. They have to be hanging here, and if they're not, where's my keys to the shed? He just has a fit. Most of us have a place for everything, so that's why it's a lot of work to take out all these necessary daily things that we need in the kitchen to make life a little more convenient for us. I need to take a lot of things out of here to streamline it and show you just the cute stuff. I found this for $15 at the Pink Squirrel occasional sale in Grantsburg, Wisconsin. Oh boy, it could have been a year and a half ago now. It's in really, really nice condition. I think there's just a little flea bite somewhere on the very top edge, but I did touch it up. I don't see it right now, but these are extremely popular. This is a teapot, I'm sure you could tell that. Any of these Lefton, and probably there's another kind too out there that's so popular, Bluebird items. I was going to sell it because I've mentioned many times I just am not into blue out here, but I've gotten in the habit of adding some blue things to my collections. So I did hang on to it. I just didn't feel like listing things on eBay. I did have an offer to buy it. Very sweet gal did want me to give her a price, but I hated to go too low because I knew it was valuable and it was going to most likely just keep gaining in value. And what was so funny is I broke down and purchased a very cutesy planter above it just last week. It was a steal, and it's the type of thing that was probably a baby gift bouquet. You know how they have so many cute little things that are typically in all the pastels, but I think this is pretty unique. Being a duck, it's absolutely adorable with those huge eyes. And look at how nice it goes with the teapot. I really wasn't thinking of the teapot at all when I bought it. I just thought the duck was irresistible for the price. No chips, just really, really nice condition, very clean inside. So I'm glad I got it, because now I have something very cute to show you over here that's very big and bold, really makes a statement. And I've had this adorable bunny planter for many years. Many, many years. Isn't that cute? And look at the size to show you the proportion here of these three things. I've had her up there before, possibly even one of my first Easter videos. I may have done that. I got a feeling I did, so you may have seen it before if you've been with us for a long time. But it is an adorable Japan planter. I haven't broke it yet. It's lightweight, you know, the Japan pieces. That duck is lightweight too. So I hope you think that is just adorable for Easter. I decided to put these items on the countertop. It's very tough sometimes to make decisions. And I typically do a lot of this just the last minute. I can't plan out things when you can't actually put it there. And you've just got all your other stuff that you use every day sitting here. So, you know, I just have to try to throw things together and hope it works out. Sometimes I luck out, and other times I'm not so happy with what I came up with. This old Japan candle holder, it's ceramic, was at my brother's house. I really didn't care for it that much. He had several that were red, typically, that looked like that too, or very close to it. This was the only one that was kind of antique-y looking. It does okay with what I've put together here, since there's a brown Lazy Susan over there, and these adorable lambs are a little off-white. I did find that candle last year. I should have lit it for you. I have considered spray painting it and hanging on to it because I think the shape is kind of fun. I just guess I don't care for the staining. But what would you do? Would you spray paint it gold, or is that too much? Of course, if you wanted to use it for Valentine's or Christmas, which I doubt that I ever would for Christmas, you'd probably think red, but I don't know. I'm sure a lot of you are probably just going to say, oh, just leave it alone. But gold is probably my first choice because it just goes with so much. It's so easy to mix gold with things. So I did find these both at the Goodwill. Amazing, really amazing. And they weren't broken either. I would definitely think that this little lamb is Royal Copley. And that one, not sure, didn't look it up for you. So cute. It's probably the biggest of the Easter ones that I have. And I'm not counting the ones that I just showed you that are above the teapot. I don't mean that kind. I mean these heavy ceramic ones. Most likely USA made, right? Now, there's quite a fun story for this. I didn't know if I should bother putting anything in this Lazy Susan server set. Norm came home with the dish. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It is more yellow than what you're seeing here. I don't know if the lighting is making it too bright. I could try it here. Let me turn our top light out, see what happens. Nope, it didn't do anything. But anyways, Norm came home with that beautiful dish, and I just assumed it was more something that you would use in your bedroom, you know, jewelry dish, something for your dresser. I said, where did you find that? At my brother's house. I knew that part. But I said, where was that? Because, you know, we've been hunting around there, trying to make sure we're not missing anything that he had buried somewhere in his basement that we would love to have or give to my sister. So he said, It was in a box in the basement tucked over by his furnace. I said, really? Well, was there anything else in the box? He said, I don't know. Yes, I think so. It's all wrapped up in newspaper. So he totally forgot about it. I'm pretty sure I kind of had it on my mind. Okay, where's that box? What's in that box that my brother tucked away? So I finally found it, looking around on my own down there while Norm was busy in some other room. And I started pulling out the first piece that was wrapped up in very, what do you call it when it, it starts getting old looking, the newspaper, tinted, darker, much darker, more yellowed newspaper. I thought, wow, boy, he packed that away a long time ago. And I believe, I'm trying to remember, I always think I'm going to remember numbers and I don't, but I think it was 2005 newspaper. So that's quite a while ago. That's when I believe it makes sense to me, because weren't we going through a recession at that time? And my brother Steve was in an antique shop in his neighborhood. So I'll bet that a lot of these things, he just packed them up when he decided to quit selling his stuff there. And the lady that owned the place, very sweet lady named Evie, she, I believe, closed up the big antique mall too. She did eventually open up her own shop across the street. She downsized quite a bit. But my brother never went back into business there again, selling with her. But they were good friends, got along great. What is so wonderful, when I started pulling all these pieces out and I realized that it was part of a Lazy Susan, and of course when I finally got to the bottom I found its wooden part tray that it sits on. It's in beautiful condition, there's no damage, and it just says on the bottom, Cal for California. Cal something. I gotta look that up too. It's California pottery. But isn't that beautiful how it overlaps? That is so cool. That was a long time ago to pack that away and to be over by your, hidden around your furnace area somewhere. That was the room where the safe was. If you watched the video of the house that Norm did, it was the room that the safe was in where the furnace was. So there was a lot of stuff there, lots and lots. So enough on that. Thank you for listening. I just wanted you to hear the story of how we just discovered that beautiful set. I am thrilled. So let's just look at a little of this over here in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to turn the lights back on. That's what I was doing. So you've seen the old blender that my brother had, that I took out of many blenders in his basement. This was my favorite. I've had this cute rooster. There's eggs. You can see little eggs here and there around the base of the lid there. I just put some yellow jelly beans in it to share that today. And this I found, I believe, at the thrift store, Goodwill. No, that was Bibles for Missions. Yeah, just a couple weeks back. So the carrot was not very prominent. It was just a streak they put on it. So I did paint the carrot much thicker. And I do use, as I've mentioned before, testers, small little bottles of enamel gloss, if I want gloss. Sometimes you might want a little flatter one. I've shown you this little adorable hand mixer before. Sometimes I feel like mounting it up there. It just fits. I don't know what I'll do. Norm, I hate to ask him to put screw holes in the wall. And I was so surprised. I did show this on Instagram. It is so cute. It was all wrapped with the eggs inside, except for the one with the flower on it. I added that, but it had all these plain ceramic eggs in it. So they wrapped saran wrap all around it to keep the eggs in it, and there was pink grass in it. You know, the Easter grass. Did not like the pink Easter grass in it. Plus, it hid the beautiful inside. This is very definitely a hobbyist piece. And as I showed on Instagram, I panned up to the top handle here where it said $9.99. That's what I got all of that for $9.99 at Bibles for Missions. When I walked up in there and started looking at their Easter stuff and saw that, I thought, how could no one have taken this yet unless they had just put it out? It's just so unique a basket. Have you ever seen a mold like this? Boy, I haven't. And there's no chips on it. It has a little bit of runny spot, you know, here and there, but I thought it was beautifully done. I was thrilled. Definitely going to be a challenge to store it, of course. That's always the problem, but I couldn't pass it up. I was very happy. I did share this also on Instagram, except I did not have those two eggs there, but I did show that I found a place to put my two tallest milk glass baskets. This one would be considered diamond point, and this is a grape pattern over here. I've had them for a long time, and a couple more of my extra baskets. These are very fun jelly beans. They're small and they're glittery, kind of glisten with a kind of a golden finish on them. So they're very pretty and very small. These are the normal size ones. You can see they're a lot smaller. And that's a pretty little egg yellow one. I thought would be fun to put a couple yellow ones up there. The Google Lens that I've been talking about did not pull this rooster up. I'm sorry that it's still so backlit. Very difficult to show it in white in my window. That's why I usually just go with glassware in this window, because I just know it's going to be very difficult to show you. Like I said, I tried the Google Lens and all it did was pull up Westmoreland ones. They are not standing on a barrel. I believe that's what it is. Or not a barrel, I should say a log. So that's the difference. Plus, from what I could tell, the crown on the Westmoreland ones is not as defined as this one is. This was a purchase quite a few years back when I first started liking milk glass. And it was a bit of a splurge, but not as much of a splurge as it would be now. I don't think I would buy one now. So sometimes I've liked having it. Other times I've thought, do I really want to store that? But I'm glad I have it now. This really did make a very fun window for me. to look at when I'm looking outside. And I have shown you all of those plates in the spring video. They are uranium glass. My mind just doesn't work as fast as it used to. The green ones are uranium glass. The middle one is Vaseline glass. Uranium glass, but Vaseline. So pretty, and I found that so cheap many years ago. Didn't even know what I had. I really wasn't into uranium glass, didn't pay any attention to it several years ago when I first started making my videos. I honestly did not know. I just wasn't really knowledgeable of any vintage glassware, but I'm learning. And I'm sorry that I don't give you perfect information all the time. It's a lot of work trying to remember everything. I would have to be constantly looking at my notes because my brain just can't retain all those details. So here's just some fun things that I've thrifted over the years. Way too many jelly beans around here, but they are cute to look at. I found that little salt and pepper, probably 70s. And the nut chopper, I love the Harvest Gold. Really fun to find them. And we've had this lucite napkin holder, probably one of our fanciest ones, very tall, for many, many, many years when we first started collecting lucite. And I found this set of just two, unfortunately. Oh, a long time ago. So I do have powdered sugar in one and regular sugar in the big one. There's my bouquet of plastic serving pieces or utensils in a fun milk glass vase, but it actually turned out to be too narrow on the bottom for trying to do that. Couldn't get very many in there. I found this basic flan recipe pan at Bibles for Missions a few weeks back. I couldn't resist it. I thought it was just adorable and thought it would be very fun for this video and even at Halloween time. I didn't pay attention reading the recipe. I've never made it. I'm sure it's absolutely delicious. But after I got it home and started washing it, and it was like 99 cents. That's just how ridiculous the prices are at Bibles for Missions. They just got to move a lot of this stuff in pots and pans. I was very surprised to read it says Nordic flan pan. That's hard to say. Flan pan. So cute. So I was pretty happy. I thought, I think I got something good. That was great. My sister just brought this back to me too. She was here just a weekend or so ago when she brought me back the cookbooks, and this was our mother's. I remember my mom using it all the time. So I didn't even think to test it. I'm just feel certain that it's probably uranium glass, but I honestly didn't test it. And even if it isn't, it wouldn't bother me. I'm thrilled to have it again. I may have had it for a while. I don't know if Melissa got it originally when my mother passed away or not. I don't know. But that was way back in the year 2000. But she said she's not using it. She said it's just collecting dust, so you might as well use it and show it in the videos. So thank you, Melissa. I definitely enjoy doing that. Now this is something very crazy that I did to share with you. All of these things, including some vintage cookie cutters, have been in that tall, crazy, flowered, yellow 30-cup coffee maker that is over in the dining room under that little metal shelf where the little glasses are. I had them in baggies, but it wouldn't be that much fun to show you in baggies. So what I did was dump them out into a pink Pyrex pie plate from my brother's house, and this was at my brother's house. They were odd pieces that I just never took home when he said, "You can take my pink Pyrex." The pink is what he loved the most and he hung on to the longest. So I didn't take these odd pieces, and there was several solid pink casseroles that I put on the shelving over there, but I thought, well, this would be kind of a fun thing to show you these old cake pokes. I think I have, I have my flashlight on. So that's about as bright as we're going to get, and I'm sorry if I shade myself. I think these are really cute. I purchased all of these in a small little lot like this. When they'd sell them, they'd have the whole bunch for just $1.50, $2 years ago. These are so cute because I think it's kind of a soft little egg half that these little chicks are in. But they're fun. These may be newer up here than I think these are. These rabbits have a cane, a silver cane, and a black top hat. Isn't that crazy? It's kind of funny to put black on a pastel bunny. And some of the ducks then have a silver wing. That's kind of odd too. They're very different than these. I just bought a bag of these, and they're very fun. It's odd to have a green like that. It's looks like a little chick on a nest and a rooster, but I like the colors. They go with that set, and I put them in a Pyrex bowl. So they're different colors. There's blue over here and pink. These are very different shades. And they look old to me. Do you think they are? I didn't try to zoom in on any one piece to see if I could see Hong Kong or anything like that on them, but maybe you might know something about the age of some of these. Hard to tell sometimes. I wanted to share these 3 fun cake toppers. I'm sure you've seen them if you enjoy the vintage cake decorations like these. This one is hard plastic. Very cute. I had her a long time ago. Then I found that one. They were so cheap so many years ago. Not anymore. But this one is quite different. You see how this one has green accents, and this one is bigger. Very cute, and has blue accents. But this one is thin, bendable plastic. Very different than the hard plastic one. So I'm assuming that's newer. Over here, my brother had this one Corelle plate. I didn't see anything else, so sometimes makes you wonder if a neighbor brought something over and something happened to that person. They never got their plate back. My brother had lost a lot of friends. So these are some more that I collected years ago. I think the ducks with the scarves on are just adorable. The red one in the middle is not turning out the nice bright red that I wish it would. I'm going to flip the light on over the sink here. Probably won't make a bit of difference. Well, a little bit. So those are very sweet. Very old, I'd say. Boy, I'd want to think those are like 40s. This little guy. This little guy in the middle is all by his lonesome. I always thought those that were real open filigree, if that's what you call it, are very, very cute. And I've got some Halloween ones like that. These look newer, only 2 of them. But these really remind you of the old Halloween ones. And I don't know the era, if that's 50s, 50s even. I don't think 60s. They look pretty old to me. But that's all I have of those. So I just thought you would get a kick out of seeing the different cake pokes and a few little cake toppers that I have for Easter. But these are very fun. They're just fluorescent yellow and a fluorescent pinky orange, but they're so cute. I gotta be careful not to drop my phone here. I'm gonna turn the light out. Lighting helps sometimes, and other times it's just not helpful at all. So that's much better color. Such a cute variety. It was a challenge to try to arrange them. There's a couple of eggs that say Happy Easter on them. A lamb, 2 lambs, both different. So they're very different sets. And they're probably Hong Kong. I can see, I can sneak this out here. Scam, made in Hong Kong. Yep, Harrison, New York. Scam. Yep, that's pretty common. So I just got something I showed you before that I thrifted, the oil and the vinegar in the Crazy Daisy or Spring Blossom, whichever you want to call it. And wanted to share a very pretty casserole dish with beautiful gold on it. I got this in 2018 at the State Fairgrounds Antique Show, and I went to bring it upstairs and I saw I had put a sticker on the bottom of it that said 2018, and I got it for, let's see, what did he come down to? 12? Oh, let me check it again. I was thinking in my head, I'll bet it was $20, and he was willing and dealing with me, because I remember where I was when I was trying to buy this. I was looking at several different pieces, and it was probably the second day. So then these people tend to reduce things and make offers to you. So let me check the bottom of it. Hold on. Okay, I probably said 12. It said 14. Can you imagine getting that beautiful casserole for $14? I'm frugal. I really try. I don't buy Pyrex unless it's really, really something and I don't have it, and I think it would be just really great to show with whatever color scheme I'm working with. And this is quite a pale yellow, but boy, that gold is beautiful. I do have several of these large ones with the gold trim on it, and 2 of them are the pretty red one that I show at Christmas time. And then some of them, you know, they're beige with leaves or vines on them, but this one is probably my favorite. Okay, up here, Norm surprised me with this little guy when we went to Stillwater. I found this pair of silly ceramic rabbits in Hutchinson a while back. You know, maybe a couple weeks ago. I don't like their noses, actually. They're kind of weird, kind of like pig noses. But, you know, if these are hobbyist pieces, you can't complain. They do a pretty good job. Boy, can you believe those eyelashes? Wow. I thought they were worth it for a ridiculous price, so yeah, I thought they were fun. And these two hot pads are similar. They're not the same, but at least they're the same size and color. And this was from my brother's house. Very fun. Yellow flower, olive green. The cord is way too short. I can barely keep the clock from tipping. That cord is really stretched way over here. Yeah. There's another outlet that would be much closer behind my recipe boxes here, right in the middle there where that yellow one is. But I'd rather have my recipe boxes over here. I believe my newest purchase, I don't think I showed this one, the blue one. Second one down, not the turquoisey blue, but this more royal blue base on it. Pretty country looking, huh? But I thought it would work out well. It was very reasonable. My sister brought this home to me. I put lemon sandwich cookies in it. Didn't really know what to put in it. They're cookies that I purchased. Once every few years I think of them. They're by Dare, D-A-R-E. Have you ever tried them? Pretty good. So I purchased this little jar, early 2000s. So I had it for a long time, and I showed it in a video from photographs, old photographs. Not, 3 years ago when we started doing videos. I did not show it then. My sister, Melissa, just brought it back to me. Wasn't that nice? I was so surprised to see it. I honestly didn't even know she had it. Of course, she probably didn't know she had it either because she said, yeah, it's just sitting in the back of the cupboard collecting dust, so you might as well use it. She needs the room for pots and pans, not cutesy things like that. So that was wonderful. Very good timing. Just a week ago for her to bring all these, Eastery things back to me. That was great. I found this cute little picture a year or so ago at the Goodwill. Still think it's cute. Here's 3 more fun yellow eggs. Very fun. I thrifted that for $5, the thermos, and my brother had this fancy Corningware percolator. All the parts are in it. It's all stainless steel insides. The basket and everything, in beautiful condition. So I retrieved that before the estate sale. I'm not going to try to share any hot pads on the cupboards. Pot holders, forgive me, on the cupboards because I started losing the hooks. They were just these little command hooks. Right there's one missing. It's still up there, but they're drying out because I've had them up there for years. So I just did not get back to pushing on some new ones. So I'm sorry, but I'll share these with you. The ones I picked out for the fridge, every color imaginable. And some fun little magnets. Old, tiny tulips. And there's a red tulip too, but I didn't leave it up there because I don't have any red up here right now. Let's go up here first. I have shown you the cute scale that I bought last year. I'm happy to have that. And Norm spray painted these two for me. They were my brother's last year. Hold on, Norm's calling. Here's one more thing that I wanted to share that I found at Bibles for Missions. It probably was $1.49 or less. I can't find my photo. I probably took it off my phone already, and I have a place where I put things on the computer that I've thrifted. but it was really cheap. And I just thought it looked more vintage. This top here, cardboard top, just looks older to me. And it's pretty worn out too. It's so Eastery, these little clothespins. I thought they would have been really cute to put them in a dish and show you that way, but I don't know, sometimes you feel like you should leave things in their package. So cute, so Eastery. What do you think? Do you think they're older? I kind of do. Norm just wanted to let me know he's on his way home from my brother's house. Our realtor, how do you say that? I don't know. I'm Midwestern, you know, Minnesota. I talk funny, probably. He met with the realtor and a man that the realtor friend of ours had used a lot for cleaning out houses. So what we're talking about is final things that did not sell on the estate sale. In the garages and basement, things that it's just probably not worth donating. And I don't know what these guys do with some of this stuff, but it's work, you know, it's work to clean it all out. So Norm, I hope, had a good discussion with the two of them and decided what to do, where to start. As far as the furniture left over at my brother's house, we're still going to see if Bibles for Missions would be willing to come up there to get it. They have to have enough to pick up to make it worth their while. They are out of the range for the city that my brother's in to normally go there to get furniture like that. But he said if you got enough, it would be worth our while. I did show you in the spring all my pots that I really love, but you can look at the casseroles down beneath them that I chose. I purposely put the yellow bowl in the green bowls in the green casserole there to try to help blend with that dark green up there. The pink one is from my brother. And the turquoise one back here, I should have said, was from my brother. Beautiful pieces. I'm very fortunate that he gifted them to me. Now, the pictures I love this time of year because they're sweet flowers. I like all of them. I'll just let you look at them briefly here. That one is butterflies. I must have run out of flowers. I included some yellow jelly beans and a couple of these, what I would probably say are individual salts, hens on nests, and a vintage pink pressed glass basket. That's kind of an odd pink, I know. This is kind of a peachy, pretty picture, ice lip picture. So that was not on my shelf in the living room, so I thought I would just put it out here. This one's kind of odd because it's not really your nice bold flower pattern like these are. But Norm had liked it many years ago when we found it, and the fact that it's tulips, it's the right time of year to show it, so it is a little odd one up there. And this is our most recent find. They make me think of pussy willows. Do you think that's what they are? I think so. It really was adorable. Norm wasn't overly impressed, and I can't blame him. He's a guy. But I knew it would be very sweet with these other ones, and that's a lovely daffodil. While I'm over here, I have never shown this wall pocket. I've had it for a very, very, very long time, and I've never gotten it hung up. I just never found anywhere to put it, but this works good. Yeah, it could have been in my bedroom, one of the bedrooms, easily. It's very sweet. So I do just have a variety of Pyrex. And these are the pictures I decided to put in the middle here. In one of the middle shelves, there's much different color scheme down here. That looks like umbrellas and rain to me. More daffodils and tulips. Thrifted bunny and rooster. I just found these 3 ducks too at the Goodwill. I was so surprised. They wanted $1.99 each for them. But they're a well-known set, I guess. I don't have any notes to tell you, but I'm sure a lot of you recognize them. These 3 pictures are very pretty. And I'll show you all my animal planters in a minute. Just a variety of different colors, and I did include the green again to just get some Eastery colors in here. So what I really thought would be fun is, again, to share my collection of little animal planters. A lot of them are in your Eastery colors, and some are not. I already showed this in the spring, earlier in March. I think it's adorable, so that's a fairly new planter. Very, very older one for me to have is this pink lamb. I've had it ever since I started making videos in 2020, March of 2020. That's not too old for me, maybe a couple years. This is new, the lamb with the blue turquoise on it. Pretty cute. And these 2 were thrifted at the Goodwill. It's amazing what you find at the Goodwill. I did show these salt and peppers in the spring. Had that goose for a while. This is a new goose, very silly. I don't know if that's a salt or pepper. I don't see any holes on its head. But he was all by his lonesome, so cute. Couldn't resist it in an antique shop, really cheap. Had that swan, just thrifted this goose. Pretty cute. And those were from an antique mall, and I did show those in the spring too, but I wanted to have a bunch of ducks there. And you can see these are all lambs then, up here. So let's go to this side. These are cats and dogs. I just found that at an antique mall, not too far from us. Really cheap, all by her lonesome. It's just a figurine. It is not a salt or pepper. I've had the little Scotty dogs since I started showing my very first kitchen video. Still like it for Easter. Looks like jelly beans on the side. I've had that cat as long too. Very long time. I just found this. Isn't it cute? And I did look it up. It pulled up right away. Obviously there probably was a sugar that went with it, but this was at the Goodwill. Very cheap. I couldn't resist it, even though I'm not into blue, but I am into poodles. And I purchased this salt and pepper set, so sweet, a couple years ago. So that is all cats and dogs, and this is very fun. For me, I enjoy these cows and a couple pigs on the end. So these are my oldest ones from 2020. This little rabbit I found at the thrift store. He went well. He was proportioned cute. Many years ago I found that adorable cow, probably one of the biggest ones. Here comes Norm, so don't mind the noise of the door. He'll come and say hi. I just got this pig. It's so cute. I got it so cheap at a Antique Mall in Hutchinson. She was selling that so cheap, but a lot of these, boy, do they need work. Oh, they need cleaning. A lot of work. But isn't that cute? Hi, Norm.
Hello.
Successful meeting. I haven't heard yet, but boy, it's dinner time, so we need to go eat something. So that's what the shelving looks like this time. If I can lean back here far enough. There's all the milk glass. Somebody said they kind of wanted to see what it looked like from the kitchen side. That's what it looks like from the kitchen side with all the other milk glass up there and no pot holders. Should that be my thumbnail? Maybe. Thank you so much for watching today. I wish you a happy Easter. Norm wishes you a happy Easter. Easter blessings to last you all year. Thank you again for your very kind support. I hope you stay well and have a very fun spring. I can't wait till things start turning green outside here. We won't get 50 in the 50s until next week. It's been in the 30s and 40s. So take care, you all, and thank you again for your very sweet messages. Bye now.